Today's Tag Tuesday is the Bookish Sweets Tag, and for someone who is currently on a health kick, this is going to be painful. Let's do this. Hi everybody, it's Lydia here. So this tag was created by Abby at Abby Reads and Kirsty at the Literary Sisters Kirsty, and I was tagged by Hannah at Storynut. I will link them all below. They're all awesome, go check them out. And this tag is literally just a series of questions inspired by sweets and stuff, and oh my god, I'm gonna be so hungry by the end of it. Why did I not have lunch before I made this video? Question number 1 is licorice all sorts. It takes all kind of characters to build a novel. What are your favourite kinds? And I'm gonna say it's so stereotypical of me and just generally stereotypical. I'm gonna say strong female characters, because I love being able to read a book and not being really frustrated by particularly lead characters, but also to some extent side characters. I don't think it's a problem so much these days. I think there are so many great female characters in literature right now, but I hate reading like books written further ago, longer ago, where the female characters are so wet and pathetic, and it still happens today. There are still a lot of characters that just really frustrate me, but it's getting better. Question number 2 is flying saucers. I love flying saucers. I hardly ever see them nowadays. They're so awesome. Anyway, do you read sci-fi and fantasy? And if so, what is your favourite book in those genres? Don't read any sci-fi, but I love fantasy. It's by far my favourite genre. I just love the world building in fantasy, and for some reason in sci-fi I just don't relate to it as much, and it sounds really weird when you're comparing it to fantasy, but it feels unrealistic. I don't know, me reading in the 21st century can't believe it. So yeah, love fantasy, and my favourite is of course The Lord of the Rings, because as you probably know, because I'm always going on about this book, but yeah, I love it, and I think it's testament to the fact that so many books draw from it and are inspired by it these days. Question number 3 is puppets. What is your favourite child character in literature? I'm gonna go for Seb from the Bone season. I just really love that character. He's just really sweet, and I feel for him, and I get kind of mama feels when I read his parts. He's so sweet. Question number 4 is boost. I don't even know what boosts are. What book never fails to cheer you up? And I am going to go for the Harry Potter series. I used to always read this series around exam time when I was in school, because it was just light and easy to read, and the world building is fantastic, and I just used to easily fall into that kind of world and everything, and it was just magical, and I wish I could go to Hogwarts. So yeah. Question number 5 is Tic Tacs. What is your favourite small book? And for this one it's a tie. I'm going to say Quidditch Through the Ages and Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, the companion novels to Harry Potter. I haven't read them that much, but I just think they're really cute. They have little kind of notes in them and like those kind of things where the characters have written in them. I just think they're really cute. I do kind of wish they weren't paperback. Like, I think they would be really nice if they were done in hardback and kind of looked more like they could be real books. Number 6 is Sugar Mice, which I don't really know what they are. What is your favourite literary animal? I think I'm just going to go for Hedwig. Half of these questions I'm saying Harry Potter stuff, but there we go. Hedwig is not Hedwig, so that's a totally different thing. Hedwig, she's so loyal, and I don't know, I just really like her. I'm rambling because I love her. Anyway, moving on. Question number 7 is Scream Eggs. Really? Anyway, what is your favourite scary book? I don't read much horror. And in fact, the book I'm going to mention is going to be in my top 5 Wednesday tomorrow, so I'm not going to mention it. Question number 8 is Kinder Surprise, which I think are Kinder Eggs. Which book had the most surprising ending? And I'm going to say One Day by David Nichols, because it just blew me out of the water and it made me so angry at the time, but I actually really like that it kind of totally surprised me, because books don't often completely, you know, shock you like that, and that one most certainly did, so I'm going to say that, One Day by David Nichols. Question number 9 is Stick of Rock. a book that lasts a very long time. I really want to say Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings, but I've already mentioned them, so I'm not going to say them. I found one. I'm going to say S by J.J. Abrams and Doug Dawson. I really loved it, but it takes so long to read because you're reading the text and then you're reading the side blurb, and then there's all lots of bits put inside the pages and everything, so you're reading those as well, and it just takes an awful long time to read, but I absolutely love it and I wish there were more books like it, and I really hope they make like something similar soon again because it's so cool. Question 10 is Gobstoppers, a book which left you speechless, and I'm going to say The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. I just think it was a really clever idea that they were suggesting that one thing was going to happen and then something completely different happened. So yeah, I don't know what left me speechless. Books don't really leave me speechless, except for maybe one day, but I've already mentioned that. But it probably got about as close as any book has, so yeah. Now we're on to the bonus questions. And in fact, the Harry Potter inspired question number 11, Bertie Bott's Every Flavour Bean. A book outside your usual comfort zone that you really enjoyed, and I'm going to say The Wasp Factory by Ian Banks. It normally literally isn't the kind of book I would read. I haven't read any other of his works and I really need to because I really enjoyed this book. It's very shocking, like there is a part in it which I literally, when I read it, I was on the train and I was just like, I literally was just like, what the frick? On this train, and just everyone looked at me and thought I was crazy because it was just such a like, it's really dark, really disturbing, but it's so well written, and I never expected to enjoy it, but I absolutely loved it, and I would really recommend it if you want to read a good book. I would recommend it to anyone because I don't normally read that kind of stuff, but I loved it, so yeah, check that out. Number 12 is Chocolate Frogs, the most unusual book you have read. I'm going to say Where Rainbows End by Cecilia Ahern. I mentioned this last week, I think, in my Top 5 Wednesday because I love the title. It's basically it's entirely written in emails and texts and letters and that kind of thing. So there is no description in it, and I don't know if it works, but it's very unusual, and I think it's probably unusual for a reason because it's just, I don't know, I felt a bit distant, I couldn't really get into the characters. But then I'm generally not a fan of like first person books, so yeah. But it is, it's a cute story and I'm looking forward to seeing the movie anyway, yeah. And the final question is question 13, Candy Necklace, and this is kind of an optional one. Show something that you can wear that is inspired by books. I have, you know, like my Gryffindor tie and hoodies and all sorts of things, but I am going to go for my One Ring because it's beautiful, and literally I have wanted one of these for about a decade and I don't know, about a decade and a half, and I couldn't find one that was A, within my price range, and B, nice, and this one I got at LeakyCon last year in London, and it's just really beautiful, and you probably can't see it very well, but I'll put a picture here. But it's basically just, it's just really pretty, and I love it, and it's my precious. But that is it for today's Tag Tuesday. I'm going to tag Tiffany at The Crafty Home and Laura at Booknomming. Go check them both out. I'll link them in the description below. They're both awesome. I will be back tomorrow with my Top 5 Wednesday. But until then, bye.